my name is Sycra, and today I'm going to be doing a critique of a picture one of the forum members posted in the critique section of the Sycra.net forums. Okay, so what we have here appears to be some kind of monster, maybe a goblin or an ogre or a troll or something. But yeah, so let's see what you're doing right here. Well, the first thing I like is that the lighting seems pretty consistent. So you have the light on the left side, and that shows up pretty uniformly. That's okay. But let's talk about some things that aren't working with this image. Now, the first thing that I notice is that the values are missing. And what I mean by that is that, let me open up this values window. And you can see that all the information in this tends to be on the dark side. You don't have many light values at all. And this fire especially, it's very, very dark. It doesn't look like a light. And if I convert this to a grayscale image, you can see right away that this just isn't bright at all. So the first thing we want to fix is the brightness of the fire. Another thing is you have it going from kind of a darker red color to a lighter color, a yellow, further from the source of where the most heat would be. So that probably should be reversed. So you would have the orange part on the outside and the yellow part more on the inside. Another thing, I'm not going to deal too much with the drawing aspect, but the light on him. You have this kind of light green, and I get it that his skin is green, so you try to make the highlight a lighter green, and you have a darker green for the shadow. Now the problem is that the way light works is that when things get lighter, what that is the local color. So that would be the green. The green is a local color because that's his color if it was under white light. But it's a local color plus the color of the light. So the light in this case is the firelight, which tends to be an orange. So for the highlight, you'd have it get lighter for sure, but it would be kind of orange plus green. So anyway, let's start painting and see what we can't resolve. Now, I know I said I wouldn't change the drawing, but there's just one thing. It's an easy tip. To place the nipples the way you have it is quite awkward. Just remember from the collarbone, if you make like an equilateral triangle, well in this case, because your proportions are a bit unique, the triangle might get not quite equilateral. It's more wide than it is high. But anyway, you can still place the nipples more on the side like that. This is looking quite round, but anyway. Okay, so first things first. The fire is too dull. So you see you have it here in this area. Maybe we can just take a tour as to what some of these colors are. So notice how so many of them tend to be on the dark side of things. And things that are bright are way over here when really the firelight should be more in this area. So let's go and do that. Let's start. And now you can see how much brighter this looks. Looks almost too bright, but that's just because right now we're working on an image that the values are all way too dark. Although, I might add, you don't actually have too many real darks in here. Maybe a little bit here. But anyway, so I'm going to add a lighter yellow now. And then more saturated yellow, and we're going to take it to an orange. So you can see I'm really hugging the top edge of this color picker because I want to get very bright colors. Even with the orange, I'm going to stay pretty high up here. And already it's kind of, well, for me anyway, it's almost hurting my eyes. It's so bright. That's what fire is like, so let's try and capture that. Finally, we're going to get to some reds. Alright, so now let's figure out what his skin tone is. I'm just going to block it in. More like a flat color. Just picking the green that I already had. I'm not quite sure what this is coming out of his mouth. I don't know if this is a crack or if this is like a forked tongue. So I'm just going to get rid of that for now. So yeah, I'd really recommend you, when you can, to study more about anatomy. That will help you with everything, really. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is... Sorry, hold on. This is really confusing to me. The belt is blue here, but then gets brown here. I think the whole belt should be this blue color. It makes more sense. But anyway. Okay. So I want to start adding in some darks, because this to me isn't very dark, and I know you're going for that, the look of like fire, where it gets dark. So let's go darker than this and a bit more saturated. See what that looks like. It's okay, but I think we could still go darker. Maybe a bit darker. Okay. So I'm just going to block in the background now. Just adding in some more dark. And maybe around where the fire is, it gets a bit brighter. So I just took some of that orangish red color and just adding that very lightly into the background. Okay, now I'm going to take the same orangish yellow color and I'm going to use this to light the rest of the figure. So now I'm not pressing extremely hard because I want it to kind of mix with the skin color, and I'll just select this color and use this to paint with. But here the color is a mixture of the fire color and his skin color. We can add some orange in that too. You can pop some areas too. Now I'm going to take the background color and really bring that into this form, because usually when you have light like fire, where it hits it's going to be lit up, but where it doesn't it tends to get quite dark. Just blocking in background color, and I'm bringing it into his clothes as well, because really the clothes are affected by the same light as his skin. So it's always the color of the light plus the local color. And we can add some sharper highlights too. Now things like the teeth are probably going to pick up more highlights. Maybe even reflect more of that color. And the belt too. Will definitely pick up some highlights. Okay, so when I convert it to grayscale, we can see we have a much broader range of values. And if we check in the levels, we still primarily have a lot of darks, but we have some lights here too. If we take it back to the original, you can see the difference. This isn't perfect, but it's much more accurately depicting the light. And I'm really not thinking in terms of, well, this skin is green per se. And I'm thinking more that the skin is just whatever color it is because of whatever light's hitting it. If you want to get more saturated, that's fine to do in the area where the light curves into the shadow. In places like that, you can add some more green, but I don't need to put it everywhere. I'm just blending out some of the colors so get some more skin tones happening here. And it's okay if some parts get lost in the shadow. It makes the image a bit more interesting. But remember that the parts on the skin can't be as bright as this fire. The fire still has to be the brightest part. So even when I add highlights on the skin, I try and make sure they're not as bright as the light itself. So here, for example, we have a pretty bright highlight on the skin, and that's in this range, but when we go to the firelight, that's way up here. And let's give him that forked tongue. Because tongues are wet, maybe it would catch some highlight too. And again, notice I didn't go for a red color for the tongue because I'm thinking that it's just the light that's hitting it that's going to define what color it is. So if you can, try and think in terms of light and not color so much. Anyway, I think you get the idea. So, hold on. This is much too bright, whatever this is. I think it's a metal base of this torch, so let's just get some more of that torch in there. Anyway, so let's do a before and after. So before, after, before, after. And a grayscale before and after. Okay. So what I'd like to do, if I was in your shoes, I probably would do the whole thing in grayscale anyway. So like that, and then I'd add the color on top of it. But this way is okay too. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for watching.